Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to your Daily 5. I'd like to thank StockCharts.com for inviting me back for another segment. Today, I'm Leslie Jouflas, and my website is Trading Live Online. Today, we're going to be looking at some interesting stocks in the energy sector, and also we're going to look at the ETFs of gold and silver. So let's get right to it, get to the charts. This is the segment you may remember where we've got 10 minutes to present 5 charts that we're looking at. So some of these breakouts have occurred right after the election, and I noticed them on the charts the other day, so I thought people might be interested in these. Back on June 8th, I did present some energy stocks, and there was a move to the upside, and I pointed out some really heavy resistance on some of those stocks. And since then, there's been some consolidation, but now it looks like we're seeing some upside breakout moves. So let's go through some of these charts. The first symbol that I have up is OII for Oceaneering International. On the right side is the weekly chart, and the left side is the daily, so we can look at these for a little bit of comparison. So we can see on the right side on the weekly, I've drawn a downsloping trend line where the price has broken with a little gap to the upside from there. Now the gap on this, the price of that gap is 472 to 488. It's a small gap, but it is a gap nonetheless. So we want to see the price hold in that area if there's any type of a breakout. On the weekly chart, momentum always shows up first on the smaller time frames and works its way out to the longer time frames. So the weekly chart is getting close to breaking some upside resistance for momentum, but we can see it more clearly if we go to the daily chart on the left. First of all, let's look at where the horizontal pink dashed lines are about the center of price. We can see looking over to the left side of the chart that we had some kind of consolidation in that area. And then if we extended those over to the right, we can see especially right here in this area where the price had a tight consolidation area, had a little false move to the downside, and now we've broken above that resistance area. And we had these were taken yesterday, but today the price is still holding right around these highs. So we have a gap to the upside here, and we also have our RSI. We have our RSI climbing above resistance. That's a bullish sign. We have our MACD showing some momentum on that. And the on-balance volume has been rising since October, beginning of October. So we want to see that continue to rise as well. And the scooter, that's also beginning to rise. It's not quite into bullish areas, but it looks like it's working its way up. Now back to the weekly chart real quick. I just want to point something out here. I've got these 2 big red lines here. Sometimes on these types of moves, if the price just continues in an orderly fashion up, that might give a nice target area of equal length moves, an ABCD, and that would be up right around in the 12 area. Okay, let's move on now to the next chart. So here, this is a chart of Nabors Industries, also in the energy, oil, equipment, services, and we're seeing similarities with this. What's interesting on this, what caught my eye, is that the highs here on the RSI started to move up again in this consolidation period ahead of the price. Again, you know, that's showing me some bullishness by the RSI acting ahead of the price. So we have this tight consolidation, and you see the RSI holding here, and then as the price came down on this little correction, RSI starts to rise, and now is coming up into an area here. We've got a gap side up here, but we have a little bit of resistance up here for the market to get through. which I have noted with this little blue circle. But again, things are looking bullish to me on this chart. If we look at the scooter, we can see the scooter also, you know, rose up to the bullish levels ahead of the price. And our MACD here also showing signs of momentum to the upside. And again, we want to see the on balance volume down here continue to rise up. Now our next chart is, this is a really interesting chart to me. This is Tidewater, TDW is the symbol. There's an ascending triangle here that I have marked in with these blue dashed lines. A lot of times we can find a measured move target by taking the height of the pattern. If there's a breakout to the upside, which that remains to be seen, up here just around this 8.5 level, then we could project the height of that pattern up for a potential measured move target. But another thing that's interesting to me on this pattern is here we've got this downward parallel trend line channel, and the price has broken above it, although we're still around the center of, you know, the price of this larger pattern. This pattern here has broken to the upside. And look at the RSI down here. The RSI has been holding as this channel came to the downside. The RSI was holding very, very steady here. So I'd like to see the RSI with any additional, you know, price movement to the upside break this resistance line. And we can see here that the on balance volume is also starting to rise. So again, this one has a bit more work to do, but if it can make its way up to the top of the trend line here and then a break, bit of a gap area here, this could, you know, certainly get moving to the upside. And I really like the way that we see this divergence here with the scooter and this price and the RSI holding on that. Okay, now let's look at a couple of things. I'm going to look at the GLD ETF symbol for gold, and we're also going to look at the ETF for silver as well. Now, I work with pattern recognition, and what I have to do is I have to find what are called potential patterns. I never know if they're actually going to complete, but I have to monitor the pattern and see how price behaves within the structure of that pattern. So potentially there may be a larger ABCD buy pattern forming in GLD and in silver as well. So I'll just sort of walk you through how I'm going to be monitoring this pattern. So may already have an A to B and a B to C. So this would be the retracement leg, and then I'd be looking for an orderly type of decline. So nothing that has the slope and angle changes suddenly to very steep. We have some gaps here. Would like to see those smooth out and just have a nice orderly decline. So the ABCD, these legs should be about equal. They can be a variation and extend a bit. But if we look where the projection is here, coming back down into where I would expect an area of support, some Fibonacci retracements there. If price now turns from here, this is pretty current chart, comes up above where this pink line is, then I'm going to reassess the pattern. And this is just part of the process of working with any type of pattern, whether it's, you know, the triangles that I just showed you. You have to monitor, you know, the patterns to see what the price does. Another thing that I'm going to be watching for on this, if this B to C leg starts to just keep extending out sideways, then that just may negate this pattern. So this is a longer term pattern, so I'll update this on another segment of your daily 5. And SLV, very similar pattern forming. Again, it's a potential pattern, and I'm going to watch to see if this can do an orderly swing to the downside, come down into some support area here for a potential larger buy pattern. So those are my 5 charts today. I hope everybody has a great week. Thanks for joining me. I'm Leslie Jouflas with Trading Live Online.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with Stock Charts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.